So let's talk about the business model to start, because that's like an important kind of one-on-one lesson of this. So up front, you have to put a deposit on a venue. You have to put together programming, and that's all before you get any money. You might be, I mean, if you're a really good salesperson, you have really good relationships, and a very strong reputation, you can start to sell sponsorships against that early on, which can subsidize or pay for those costs. But that was not the case for me. I put $1,000 down on the venue with nothing, like no revenue for sure coming in, right? So you're taking that upfront risk. For some people that's a big deal, for some people that isn't, but you know, different scales, it would be different costs. My payout for all my tickets happens after the event, right? So whether that's buying whatever goodies or small costs that come associated with banners, renting a lapel mic, all these different things, that goes on my credit card. I was selling sponsorships, and the more sales I can show, the easier it is to sell a sponsor. It's like, all right, I've already sold 120 tickets. I only have one feature sponsor spot left. Are you in? Like, it's easier to kind of push them a little bit. But so that business model is the revenues are sponsored dollars, ticket sales, and then potentially you could also have merch and other things. Like you go to a concert. The reason there's always merch at concerts is because you already have the captive audience. They're already willing to spend money with you. Can you make that person a $100 revenue individual as opposed to a $60 or $50 revenue individual? So that's like the next model on top of that. But your costs are, you have the fixed cost of the venue. You have whatever costs are associated with the speakers, with merch, with people who are working there. I was lucky, you know, my girlfriend volunteered, I had some interns, so I was able to mitigate that cost, but that's another cost you have potentially. And then you're kind of playing the balancing game between that. The other thing with ticket sales is it's not linear. You have your initial, I announced it, there's certain people who are just into it, they're like, I'm in. I love Aaron, I trust Aaron. If he says this is going to happen, I believe him. So you have that little bit, and then you just kind of have a little tick by tick, day by day. You know, I go on a show, and they talk about it, and the 3 people who are really into it, they're like, yes, I'm in. But what a lot of people do is they wait till the last week. I think out of 180, I think I maybe sold 20 tickets in the last 36 hours before the event.
Really?
So in terms of that ramp up, that was the most I ever had in a single day period. And that is cool. It's an amazing positive experience right before the event. You're like, oh, there's more revenue walking in the door, but you're hustling and grinding for each ticket sale. And it doesn't scale at first. Like I had to sit down with 30 to 40 people within Pittsburgh, either on their show or just getting coffee down the street at Zeke's, and talk about like, this is what I'm doing, this is what it's going to be. It's somewhere between TED and Thrival, which are both cultural events that people in Pittsburgh can understand. TED, each speaker gets up to 18 minutes, then the lights come on, we clap, they walk off, the next person walks on. Panel, it's more interactive, but once again, like you have the people competing against each other or like fighting for time and attention. They're going to have the stage. I'm trusting them with the stage. They're going to have more than that time. And then there's definitely going to be the opportunity to interact and ask questions with the speakers after the fact. So it's that more interactive than a TED Talk, more focused than panel discussions on other platforms.
Right.
It's also going to have downtime for connecting with other people, and it's a Saturday, so you know that these are a certain type of person in attendance. I had to sit down and have the hour-long articulation, 30-minute articulation with someone. That doesn't scale. And quite frankly, on an ROI standpoint, I was probably making less than minimum wage for my time. However, as soon as the event was over, I announced Going Deep Summit 2.0, March 23rd, 2019. Within 48 hours, I had sold 20 tickets to that event off of the momentum of that. And you can see, just in that small example, how this is a snowball. And I've gotten it to start rolling. And then at some point down the path, if I can be consistent, if I can maintain the quality of content creation and relationships and brand building that I expect to, at some point I'm going to turn the sign, the open sign on, say tickets are now available, and drive tens, hundreds of thousands of dollars of revenue. People are going to solicit me to be sponsors just by the brand that I've built But you can't do that without doing the unscalable stuff at first. That's really what the hustle is about, and why you see there's almost like this disparity. There's some people who they get over it and they burnt themselves out hustling so hard that then they just kind of ride and they're along for the ride because I've got the snowball rolling. And there's other people who aren't content and they're going to keep rolling it. And you can start to understand why that's possible, because if you told me that I had to do all the things that I did to get this first event off the ground for the next 30 years, I'm out. I'm not interested in that. Right? But at some point, that brand and that momentum flips where that's no longer a concern. And then I hire someone to do all the logistical stuff that I don't want to do. And now it's this small obligation that I see as freeing me up to do other work, as opposed to, I'm just going to sit back and drink mimosas. 1, 2, 3, 4, get it!